Hey, Dr. Lisa here. So we are going to finish that series, that short series we did this September on the scary as heck parts of the spiritual awakenings. I think a lot of people that go into personal development, the reason I did this series was because I think a lot of people go into personal development. And there comes a time where if you're in good circles and you're doing the work, you're going to be asked at some point to stop traveling around and around and around that hero's journey to get into the same worldly place that this is, you wake up one day and it's just you got everything you ever wanted. And you are asked a question, well, do you want more of this or is there something more? And that, I believe, is the leap from our lone dog mentality, where we're asked to surrender the lone dog and get and jump up, take the big leap to the sacred success path. It's not it's like the idea of the hero's journey or the heroine's journey, but it goes deeper. It is asking us to really go deeper instead of go expansively into our other person game. It asks us to go deeper into our inner game than we have ever gone before and to really work on leadership and relationships and intimacy and nonviolent ways to live and play this game. And you don't start out on this spiritual uh, evolution the same way because it's an involution. It's an involution opportunity, and you don't go around and around and around in a circle. I sort of see it as those circles are like concentric, like a vortex, more of a vortex where you go inward and outward and upward and downward, and these are paths that are simultaneous. That's why the spiritual journey really needs a mentor, really needs somebody with you, because you are constantly being challenged to step up higher than you've ever stepped up in your consciousness before. You're not starting the path as a fool, so you can't say that excuse. A lot of times you may be getting repositioned into your assignment that you've taken on. Once you jump and take over that threshold, you are closing the door to all your BS. And sometimes there's a lot of darkness in the wilderness. Uh, Brene Brown wrote, braving the wilderness. To some extent, people think of that on the worldly realm, on the typical, hero's journey or mythic type of, slaying our dragons and demons and things like that. But the reality is when we get to this level of play, when you get to the awakening, you can't go back to that other world. It's not like you can, you don't even want to drink the alcohol, take the drugs, have the sex, eat the food in the same type of way. It's transformational. It's transformational, and that can be really really scary because just like a butterfly goes into its cocoon and then literally just dies, that old version dies except for those cells like I spoke about in the last episode of this walk. So this is 70, 71, 72. On episode 71, you those imaginal cells, don't you just love that? Imaginal cells that just hold so much potential. They're in you now. They're your spiritual codes. They're your imprinted energetics on the 3D realm of your masculine and feminine codes. They're your yin and your yang. They're the things that we can look at in terms of the genes that are going into those genes and sort of seeing those um, the genome crafted in a way that no two people are exactly the same, and even identical twins will react and be molded by their environment in slightly different ways. We are all unique, and we have this energetic footprint that we get literally asked, hey, would you like all the codes opened? Would you like access to all the codes within you? And that's what this is. And sometimes when you're in that darkness at this level, it's super scary because you're dealing with the unknown. At least on the regular worldly success path, you have a million people that are sort of showing you the way, all these mentors and this and that. But this sacred success path is something that you need to learn how to do in these two realms. You're working as team, 100% team, but you are really having a very personal, transformative, that that caterpillar enters the cocoon on its own, and it may be in a nest with a whole bunch of other ones, and there may be an energetic link between them, but the experience can only be had. It can't be described, right? It can only be had. And so that's really what I wanted to conclude with today. Let's talk a little bit about what standing in your transformation after you've actually jumped the line, after you've gone through some of those awakenings and done the crud of work, which we get into, flipped your pain. And how do you know? How do you know? Well, first of all, you're never done. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about how you know that at least you're on the other side of this cycle.
Join Lisa as she starts the conversation on what it really takes to become a healthy, wealthy, and whole CEO of your life. Listen in to Real Talk by real lady leaders in all walks of life as they open up on personal health stories, wealth, career, and feminine abundant living. Learn how to grow by owning your body, expanding your mind, and aligning your soul with the purpose only you can pursue in this world. Happiness begins with owning her health right now.
Okay, Dr. Lisa here. So we are here on the third of the three-part series on that awakening and how scary that can be. We'll be talking to these types of things, but I wanted to put this in here was the transition time between the summer and the fall, and I also see a lot of people. We've had that great awakening, right? We've had that great awakening. We've had the great resignations. We've had the great resignation. We had the great recession. Maybe we're going to go into a depression. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But the reality is, people are really deciding to live their own way, and at that revelation with ourselves, many of us who have been honestly, trying to walk the talk of personal evolution, as I said in the intro, will be presented with this calling to step up, to be grateful for whatever it is that may come, and to change your attitude to a place of really higher maturity, much more uh, higher consciousness. It's not just about having courage, it's literally about having compassion at that point. And how do you know? How do you know when you've crossed the line? Well, I will tell you from my personal experience and from working with a couple of hundred, I don't even know now, many years, probably close to 1,000 people combining that spiritual evolution with their physical development and mental development and emotional development and social developments and things like that. And what you end up doing is you're working a lot in the realm of transformation in how you're interacting in the world, how you're interacting with yourself. It's a lot of leadership development. It turns into a lot of relationship development. And I don't necessarily mean, with couples and marriages and family counseling. And this is not a therapeutic type of thing, but I will say that many, many people have these experiences. Like I'm in a program right now that it's a great program. I mean, reach out to me if you're at that brink of you're just tired of standing in your own BS. You're tired of showing, the logic of it. You'll always show the logic of it. And when you're in those containers for this period of time with all different people, when it's the right mix, you're on the other side because You want somebody to stand there and to be truthful to you, to not be BSing you, being kind and nice and enabling, and you want people to get off their BS too. But you really want to get off your own BS even more, and you want people to be truthful to you. You want the feedback. You want the kind candor. Most people can't take the candor. I can tell you as somebody who's, people have said to me before, if I want to know the truth, I'm going to come to you, Lise. And that is the truth. But I can tell you too, it has also pushed away a lot of people that I thought were in, that I let in, have access to me. But when when they did not when they no longer wanted to see the truth, or if they never wanted to see the truth and it just got to them, they ran. They ran from me, because when you're a truth teller, there's a way to do it. I'm not going to say I always knew how to do it. I mean, I had to go through my own personal transformations, but I have, especially after the past few years, to know that there is such a beauty in being able to stand in your transformation as somebody who understands the benefit and power of being called out for your own stories in a compassionate, uh, kind way. And the difference between that and being sort of just blown up your butt, and your butt kissed, and sort of people enabling you to stay in your mediocrity. Like, there just comes to a level that when you are, an executive, a leader, an emerging leader, you have big dreams, you have big thoughts. You can't get there in mediocrity. Those two things cannot coexist. um, there was a time where mediocrity was fine with me. And I'm not saying it is a negative. Mediocrity means medium. It means it's in the middle. It means it's the norm. The norm was that cul-de-sac lifestyle with the 2.4 kids and the two cars and the whatever, whatever, and the vacations to here and there. And listen, I loved it. It's everything I ever wanted. It was me being, the physical therapist, and then the senior physical therapist, and, doing that after being the head athletic trainer, and doing this and winning my awards and getting into whatever school. And then I was the could be the director of this and the wellness stuff, and form these programs. And then it got to the point where it was like, well, you're going to do what everybody does in the mediocrity, in the normal of it all. And you now either teach somebody else your techniques that you've done, and you become an educator and an academic, and you teach other PTs, physical therapists how to be physical therapists, or yoga therapists how to be yoga therapists, or doctors how to be doctors, or you go into research, and you don't do as much clinical work, or you just stay tried and true, keep getting letters after your name, keep in the clinical work, and keep doing what you do. Maybe one day you own a clinic. Maybe one day you're, whatever, doing the continuing education, you write a book, everybody does your method, things like that. And that was the norm, and that was my dream. That was what I thought was going to be the epitome of what. But then I got a call. Then I got a call, and that's where where you're being asked to kind of, have you had enough of that first life, you know um and do you really just want to, what do you want to contribute from all of that? Is it just the book, or is it going out and kind of taking that bag of wisdom and your whole life experience and just who you authentically are without all of the tags on you? And are you willing to now start being the artist, where you're literally got this slab of you, and you just start chipping into it, because in that slab you see something greater, something even more grand, something that is going to leave an imprint beyond you, a legacy. Maybe you have such a unique point of view that you're literally can be an icon. Not because you want everybody, writing that or saying it about you, but it's because you literally feel like you are here, and everything that's come behind you is towards you doing something. Like, there's this job for you to do. There's this what thing for you to contribute that only you could contribute. There's this way you're supposed to impact people, or gather people, or speak of a certain way that's supposed to, you might be the catalyst, you know, um, or you might be the one that gets to, to walk it through and pass the baton. You don't know. And in this type of the loop, in this part of the loop, you don't even care. You don't care, and you're constantly battling with the ego to want to pull you back to care who is celebrating you at every moment, because you just have to celebrate yourself. And when you're standing in that transformation with other people who have, or who want it, who have that hunger, and you're able to gift them that ability to get to that highest level of love, truth, courage, connection, contribution. Wow. That's all I have to say. And it's something to be experienced. It's something to be experienced. And so that's how you know. That's how you know, and why people seek it, and why people, and to the extent of heaven on earth. Can you create your heaven on earth? And I'm going to tell you something. People aren't going to necessarily look at your heaven that you're creating and see it. They're not going to necessarily, in fact, most people, if you're around the people trying to sort of be a model of this, or be a vision where people need to see it, they're going to be somewhat resistant of it. They're some of them not going to be able to see it. So how do you know who to hang out with? How do you know where to do your work? Well, I can't say it again. It's a thing to be experienced. You kind of get led. You get led there. You find yourself making choices that, 2, 3, 4 years ago, you wouldn't have made that choice. You wouldn't have seen the you wouldn't have been grateful for that um, thing that you're now so grateful for. Uh, you are fairly simple. You start living a KISS lifestyle. Keep it simple and sane. Um, Smallest things become so sacred to you. Other things that were so sacred to you just don't matter anymore. It's an identity shift. It really is an identity shift. And the hardest part of this identity shift is, no, you don't die and then you become an angel, and then you're in this other realm where everybody's an angel like you. You literally die. Maybe white knuckle that old identity for a couple of years. Who knows? Some people for decades, some people through addictions or whatever. And then you're sort of freed from that, and you have this sort of this second life rebirth. Yet people are all looking at you like you're your old person. And you sometimes want to be that old person because it was simpler than when you were, ignorance is bliss to some extent, but you can't. And I work a lot of times with women um, who are really kind of taking that big leap from their career to their calling, and and we get stuck. I've been struggling with this too, and you're going to at every inflection point where you made this leap, you saw the gap, you misappropriated how much you needed to push off to get to that other side, and you fall into that gap. And it might be a leadership gap, it might be just some business systems gap, it might be a gap in your just personal leadership. And what is leadership? Leadership is your ability to power flex, to read other people, to read the room, to be able to speak to people as they are, not you are, or be able to listen, be able to move like a chameleon into other power flex styles so that you can play the game a little bit, to be those other people and negotiate life and enroll people into themselves. Right? When you make somebody feel, people, Maya Angelou said, people will always remember how you made them feel. It doesn't matter, you're buying them all this stuff. One of the love language conflicts I had with my ex was that uh, I think, he was of service. And to me, I was like, this is the stuff you do. Like, this is just like what you do. To who do you need to, what do you need to do to get to, from A to B? What do I need to do right now? Take action, or whatnot to do. So for me, him making dinner, or him doing this or that, I was just like, yeah, that's what you do. It's dinner time and you got home first, so you make dinner. That was that kind of conflict, and in his end, the conflict was not understanding that, whereas maybe asking a lot of questions and having time together in the same space was so much of my love language, and getting to know someone more intimately and really, asking questions not to interrogate, not to corner people, but literally because I'm so interested in people. I find people so interesting. Um, and if I'm not asking questions of you, if I'm not engaging in you, then that's kind of telling you that I'm really not interested in you. And yet, for somebody who is maybe brought up where nobody talks to each other that way, or nobody wants to know each other's depth, it might feel kind of uncomfortable. It might feel like an interrogation. It might feel like, how am I going to be in trouble now? And that's how we have to learn how to power flex. And I had to grow into that. I had to learn, but it was my experience, and that's what I'm talking about. You've crossed the line when you can have those experiences, and they are all learning opportunities. You begin not to fear the unknown. You fear less. You're not fearless. Fear is right there with you, and it's a good thing, because fear makes you stop a moment and check your ego, and check your awareness of self-awareness, and check the area and check what's going on, and for a moment take a breath so that you can respond instead of react. But fear is not supposed to be in charge of you. And there's a lot of people who live in a commitment in a marriage with fear. I live in a commitment and marriage with love. And my love had to learn how to adapt and get softer and not be as guarded. But I also, you need to feel safe. You can't do that with someone you don't feel covered by, with someone that you sense is, keeping secrets from you, or just, not saying the truth. So we need to be able to uh, show up. Like I said, you're on the other side when you can show up for someone where they are, but you no longer ask them to, you know, bring you down. I feel that's what we do. Sometimes we're just asking people to bring us down instead of asking them to step up, right? And it's one thing about bringing yourself to where you can kind of reach out, and if you see somebody drowning, you reach out and you give your hand. But if they're shooing you away, if they don't reach out to you to actually grab your hand, if they never make that connection, then they're not receptive of your help. And you've crossed the line into a bit more of this awakening, and you're on the other side, even though it might still be hard, and even though you might be getting slack from people who you thought were, ride and die, or whatever, because what you're going to be seeing is that they're no longer on the path with you. That's what's so hard to do. But despite that, you have this ability to show up still, because you're getting so much joy and contribution, and you're covered. Like, you don't need to be covered by that human anymore, your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your sister, your kids, or whatever it is at the time, because you know that ultimately God, source, something bigger than you, something more supreme, sort of has you, and is setting up the steps. You just have to get out of your own way, and it's this moment of surrender. It is this moment of surrender and submission, in the biblical sense of, Jesus take the wheel, or just universe has my back. It's not against me. This whole thing is not against me. This whole thing, like, life can be difficult and beautiful. It's not an if or. It's not a this or that. It's not a black or white. When you can get to that place that you're living that way, it's so much easier. It really is a glimpse of what heaven on earth can be. And you just want everybody to be standing in transformation. You just want everybody to be a leader of themselves. That's my tagline, be the CEO of your life. I don't care if you have a company, but like that's what adulting's supposed to be. Adulting is supposed to be where you learn how to be the CEO of your life. You have to take 100% responsibility. When things are not going right for you in a way that feels good, then you need to decide, well, what can I do with it feeling bad? How can I still achieve what I want to achieve? Um, that there's a level of urgency with it. That doesn't mean that you're killing yourself and you're ignoring your body and you're ignoring your relationships. Like, again, this is why at this level, you're on the other line, because it becomes so much more of a exercise of how do I show up in relationship? How do I show up in leadership? How do I, do this? But it's not egocentric. You're literally saying because you want to be better for other people. You literally do understand you're sovereign and divine and have so much more potential, and that you are being molded and you are that slab of beautiful marble that has, used to be this like ugly, irregular, um, tough rock that maybe everyone walked over, not realizing it was a beautiful, high level piece of stone. And it got molded through that hero's journey or heroine's journey, and you were able to, thanks, um, you were able to, uh, l- you know, get what you wanted to get out of it and experience the things you wanted to experience. But now you have this beautiful piece of granite, and you say to yourself, what else can I make out of this? What else? That's when you've made the leap. That's when you've made that leap. And if at that point you've created quite an illusion, if at that point you have built castles in the sand, they have not had the foundations to really root you down in this new life you're creating, in this new Garden of Eden, there will be a tower moment. You will be course corrected. You will be repositioned. And that can be really harsh and tough and scary as heck. Um, and so, again, what a blessing to work through vision and breakthrough and break down with people who are doing that too, and who are over enough of their own stuff and have achieved enough, because I do truly believe you should not. This is why I get so weary about going on these medicinal type of journeys without some sort of like professional support or circle of wisdom around you, or even like way, like in time and space for you to process it. Or even these like yoga retreats where somebody's very skilled at sort of, to me it feels like manipulation when you don't even know the person and you're playing with their energy and you're opening up their chakra, and you're giving them this real revelation that you don't know if they're really in position for, right? You don't know. Maybe you shouldn't be showing the horror show to the 6-year old, because not every 6-year old might be like you were at 6 years old. They might have not had the same story or the background or the laying down. And there has to be a certain knowingness, not just knowing about stuff, I think, to be truly in a safe container. And so that's, I like to create those safe containers. I like to connect people with those types of people that are performing those containers and create those spaces myself and my groups, because I think we just think this stuff isn't as powerful as it is. And I'm going to tell you, your spiritual power is the root of your personal power and your financial power and any other power you think you have. So when you start tapping into this and you start crossing the line, I think, it is why some people are driven batty. Some people are driven batty. There are days you feel insane. If you're not grounded in something, and that something may be, that's why in yoga they gave us sort of these rituals to do, and then work with our body and our mind and our breath, and to watch the thoughts while doing all of those things, because it took all of those things to ground you for what you might see when you're free from the BS. And that's really what it's about. I always tell everyone, studying and getting into spirituality is you coming home to yourself, and it being okay if there's nobody there celebrating you or everybody there celebrating you. But I will tell you that when you cross the line to transformation and you're going beyond just personal growth, there's always going to be somebody there with you. You're never alone. You're always going to be attracting the right people because you're the right vibe. And I'm not even going to say right or wrong, but like you're the optimal vibe to your capacity and comprehension, and that just attracts other people that are like that, because this is a world that appears to be in form and function, but the reality is, if we go deeper, if we look under a microscope at an atom, now we understand there's a lot of space and things we can't see. There's a lot of no thingness, nothing, right? No thing in that something. And that could be mind boggling to someone just listening to me right now who doesn't have the evidence through other experiences. And so I feel this walk, this sacred success path, the path of surrender, is something that cannot be learned in a book. You can have ideas like this given to you in terms of my experience, my perspective, so that you're not completely, you know, surprised when certain things are not easy for you and so other things are blissfully wonderful for you. Because I think in worldly success and the regular hero's path, we're kind of gotten to a level of entitlement where we're so, I don't think we're in comfort zones anymore. I think we've transcended that to the point we're just in convenience zones. Like, I don't even think we're comfortable. We're not comfortable not fitting in our old clothes, but it's convenient to put on big baggy pants instead. We're not comfortable eating food at a quick stop that we know has no nutritional value and pretty much doesn't even taste great, but you're just so hungry, and but it's convenient. That's why it's a convenience store. Um, we have got to look at that. And that crossing the line, how do you know you've crossed the line? Into standing in your transformation instead of knowing about transformation, being ways of being instead of doing, is that you understand what I'm saying here and you want that. You want that. You no longer want to live in the ordinary. You want to have that power, that authentic power, to really be able to generate and source what it is you need when you need it. And you want the ability to see when you're getting in your own way and have the team, the network, to contact someone to help and coach you, someone to, mentor you around a certain thing, just as I'm doing for you right now. It's not about me telling you what to do or how to do it. It's me believing in you and enrolling you into the vision of your life, the person who you can be, who can accomplish these things that will naturally get what you get when you're being that person. 100% who needs to know what they need to know for it. And that's not having an expectation in the sense of a bad, being setting yourself up for defeat. No, it's the actual opposite. You expect success, and therefore you live a successful life. And that, like I said, is going to look so different to you than anyone else, and it's no one else's business what that is to you. The people who you have to live with and want to live with, again, once you start, all I can say is that if you're interested in living like this, if you are someone who just wants to know my experiences with this personally, or just even just wants to tell me what is your vision, And let's just stop you being in your own BS and in your own way, and just take 100% responsibility that 99% of the people will never take. And they will go to the convenience of just complaining and saying the world is against them, and it's, this damn war and the inflation and everything else. I'm not saying that I'm the expert at it, because when you're also healing and you're falling back down into your lower levels of consciousness, sometimes because you want to go back into that cocoon and you need to, and you're not connected with people or whatever, there's a freedom in knowing that you can do that, and you can source what you need for that, um, and that you'll be okay however long that part of the season takes, and that you'll know when you've hit your rock bottom instead of just staying there and making it normal. So I'm going to finish it off with that. Reach out to me, support at drlisahollandpt.com, and let me know if you think you're at the threshold of something big like this. If you want to learn more about transformation, transformational coaching, if you're tired of being in your BS stories, not that they're not true to you, they're just not useful anymore. Come and contact me and give me some feedback on this series. I'd love for you to listen to it. It's just a taste of maybe where you are, just to let you know where you are on that path and maybe where you want to be. Thank you so much for listening in. Next time on Owning Her Health, we're going to be getting to talk to the lovely Pamela Crane.
Thank you for listening into this episode of Owning Her Health with Dr. Lisa Holland PT. To learn more about her personal and professional development service, visit her online at drlisahollandpt.com.